Lock us in, load us in, pop in that 8-track, spin the tape. Here we go. Hey now everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of Star Wars Time, and guess what? Nick is here, and he's not ready to die, so it's going to be a fantastic episode of the Star Wars Time show proper. That's right, it's the Friday show. Of course, you're not listening to it on a Friday. You know, we're not rich. It takes time to process this shit and develop it to share it out on all of our social media, our StarWarsTime.net site. But we're here, we're recording, and he is feeling slightly better. They figured out that he has not worn out a hole in his stomach. His heart's still ticking, and his brain's still thinking. So Nick's strapped in and ready to put in a full episode of the Star Wars Time show. Right, brother?
I'm feeling way better. I can't say that I'm feeling great.
He may or may not be on drugs, but he's ready to rock and roll.
You know, that's yet to be seen. You know, Matt and I had a little conversation before we started the cast, and Matt recommended some special medicine. I got to see what I can do, but I'm definitely feeling much better than I did last week. I hope you guys can hear in my voice that I don't sound at least as
Big
sick.
Time. Big
so
time. His balls
I'm
are
here.
back. His balls are back.
My energy has come back to me a little bit, and you know, as I do every week before the cast,
Big dick
I put
energy,
together,
people. Big
here we
dick
go.
energy.
Here we go. And we kick it off with the top 5.
Yes! My favorite. I fucking love the top 5.
And you know, this week, everybody, if you're following along with the post, right up front, I let you know there's a little extra. There's a little spice at the end.
Oh, no.
So we'll get there when we get there.
Oh, no.
But there's a little bit of extra.
Okay. Let's see what he's talking about.
I'll call it a top 6. So
okay,
we'll kick off the top 5 here. Star Wars Time Show top 5 Instagram picks.
Lay it on him, brother.
So number 1 comes from Mazarek88, and I gotta say, immediately I saw this, I was like, holy shit, this almost looks like an Alien versus Predator type of poster, movie poster.
Good call.
So what we're seeing here is General Grievous leaning in, like you see him leaning across the frame, and then face to face with Obi-Wan Kenobi on the other side.
Rots Kenobi.
Yes.
Remember, those of you, if you're fans, Rots is Revenge of the Sith.
Yes, not Return of the Sith, like I said, because I'm an idiot. But right down the center, right between their two faces, there's a little line.
And you can hear
saying.
Grievous like coughing it up too, right?
Yeah.
You are doomed.
Yep, it's beautiful. So like what I really like about this shot as well is that in the shot you can see one of Grievous's lightsabers kind of coming up towards Kenobi.
Yep.
And you get this really great blue-green glow.
Yeah, the lighting is
face.
titties here, Nick. I mean,
yeah.
To me, this shot, first and foremost, people, if you're following along, I mean, I've been adding the shots to the YouTube version of the cast, so if you're watching there, you'll be able to see it. But to me, as someone that takes pictures of toys of this scale, these things are 6 inches tall, okay? They're tiny. I mean, they're not 3 3/4 inch tiny, but they're still tiny. And the fact that, Mazarek88 here has been able to make these look like life-size portraits was one of the draws that I had to this image initially. I mean, it just, I love it. I mean, you know, there is a contentious relationship between Kenobi and Grievous. I mean, it was established in the prequels. Hello there. I mean, obviously, it's one of Kenobi's most famous lines at this point in time, even though it comes from the prequels. We'll give him a pass. And Grievous, for what he is, I mean, he was kind of a fun villain. Definitely way underutilized in the live-action version of the prequels. But if you watch the Tarkovsky or Gennady, however the fuck you say his name, cartoons, They definitely gave him credit there. That's where they established Grievous. And then, of course, he got more credit in the Clone Wars cartoons. But I appreciate when you can make tiny figures, 1/12 scale, look like almost real people.
Yeah. I mean, that's what was really a draw to this one, is that it looked like, particularly Grievous,
Yes.
looks like a real technological monster coming out at
And that
Kenobi.
that just goes to show the lengths Hasbro has made with their product lines, because I've just recently got this Grievous too. Haven't shot him yet. It's killing me, but I've had other projects. I had the Luke project. By the way, speaking of Luke project, I'll share with Nick, and again, I have zero hope anything's going to happen, but out of my 33 submitted Luke shots, Nick,
Okay.
Hasbro PR, at least the PR company working with me, selected 5 to move to the final round.
Dude, that is what I'm talking. Like, I didn't hear this news before the cast, so this isn't like feigned excitement.
I've kept it to myself.
Like, that is fantastic, man. Like, you talk a lot of shit about yourself, and people on this cast.
Well,
know
hey,
it.
listen,
You do it a lot.
listen. Nothing's official yet, so I'm still glass half empty, motherfucker. Like
I'm happy for you.
I appreciate your enthusiasm and support. Trust me, I'm not trying to be one of these, like these tragic artists.
Yeah.
My entire life, I've lived this way. I live in the negative. I live to lose, because in the end, if I win, the feeling is so much better, and if I do lose, I'm prepared for it. That's just a way I've conditioned myself in life.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's not like I had a bad life. That's just how I roll. Everything is always going to be glass half empty. So when they came, they were like, hey, man, we chose 5 shots. Most people like, that's fucking great. I was like, I still won't make it.
Yeah, I mean, 5 shots in the final round, though, dude. Like, that's incredible.
We should know next week if Haywood Pop is going to make Celebration show floor.
I mean, that would be massive.
I mean, let's be real.
So how many shots make it to the final round? Like, how many artists make it to the final round?
I mean, I've seen the wall before. I'd say the wall probably houses upwards of 20 to 30 shots.
20 to 30. You took 30 pictures by yourself. You know how many pictures were submitted? How many pieces of art were submitted
a few.
for this?
I mean, at least over 100 for sure. So.
I mean, come on. You're being
I'm not trying to be monster. I'm being dead serious. I legitimately don't think any of my 5 will make the official board. If they make Hasbro.com or Hasbro Pulse Instagram, that'll be great. But I'm telling you right now, I want to make the goddamn Celebration board.
Yeah, and if you do, I'm gonna fucking take a picture of you standing.
Both of us. That's the first
wall.
time I'll actually acknowledge that I may be okay at toy photography. I'm not kidding. Like, if I make it, I'll sit there and we can hug, we can kiss, we can pose in front of it, whatever you want to do. But until that happens, I'm not making it.
All right, man.
Just trust me. It's just how I live my life, dude.
It's just you.
I mean, when I applied for Penn State, it was like, I'm not going to get in. Guess what? I got in and I graduated with fucking like mega cum laude. That's just how I deal with life. It's just, I've been wired this way. I don't know what my parents did to me or if this is just self-inflicted, but everything in my life I cannot enjoy until I know the final verdict. And it's a defense mechanism. Because
for disappointment.
Exactly. If I don't make it, I am prepared for it. If I do make it, it'll be that much better. That's just how I roll.
I hear you. I mean, like, I can function in a similar realm sometimes too. So it's not like I'm completely, off put by it or completely oblivious to that mindset, because I definitely live in that sometimes. But it's just like, this is a moment, I don't know, just hearing that you got 5 shots in to the final round, and we're literally, I mean, like, on this day we're recording is Friday, April 5th. Celebration starts in a week.
Yeah. I'd say by the time this goes live, I'll probably know if I made it.
Yeah, so we're a week out, and you're in the final round. We could walk into the Celebration show floor and be met with Haywood Pop right on the wall. Bam.
Hey, trust me. my little fucking penis would get erect if that happens, but until I know it's gonna happen, I'm gonna pretend it's not. So let's move on to the actual next top shot. You know,
Okay,
again,
so
I don't want to give myself too much credit because your ass fucking, spoiler alert, this motherfucker, against all directives, put a shot of mine in the top 5. So we'll get there, and it's going to be course corrected. But anyways, let's move on to the next shot, Nick, which is, by the way, the diamond I was teasing and that I was hoping you would find, and you found it.
Matt always does this now. He's always like, all right, I'm ready for the top 5. I got one that I really want in
Right, and I don't
there.
give him anything else outside of I've got one I really hope you pick. So it's not like I set up the subject matter, the user account, nothing. I just let him know, like, dude, there's one out there that I feel like you have to pick.
And
this
he
was
did
it. And this is it.
Yeah, this is from Figure Hurts.
Figure motherfucking hurts.
And
Like
this,
car rental shit.
Yeah,
Hurts.
HERTZ. So this shot, apparently,
Jesus.
according to the caption we have here, this was a winner of a recreation scene contest.
No, read it. It's literally a contest I made up as I posted.
Oh, okay, this is you. Okay, that we literally just made up. Okay. Oh my God!
See?
I read the first, even when I picked it, when I put it in the top 5, I was like, "Holy shit, this thing won!"
Yep, that's your boy just fucking throwing some shit in there. But yeah, I mean, if there was a SH Figure Arts, again, those of you in the toy community, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're some of the most artistic figures you can get. They're a Japanese line, so us in America and the States, we have to pay a little bit more to get them, but they're well worth it, especially when you see shots like this. They're very detailed, they pose well, and their facial sculpts are damn near lifelike. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so this shot, it is good enough. When I saw this, I was like, "Holy shit, this shot is
he
good
made
enough."
the lava. Like, if you
Yeah.
read it, if you read his caption, the motherfucker made the lava out of, like, some sort of foam process. And you know
Lava
those are real
flow
fucking
Dio,
fireworks
yeah.
he's lighting off, too.
Oh yeah,
Explain
so, like,
the
it's
shot. I mean, we're sitting here like,
Yeah,
we're like jerking off all over the shot. We haven't even fucking set it up yet.
So this is a Revenge of the Sith shot. The battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan
It's
on
the high
Mustafar.
ground. It's the high
We
ground.
all know, yeah, exactly. We all know the scene. We know how it ends. Anakin jumps up,
I
tries
hate
to get off
you.
Obi-Wan, gets all of his limbs chopped off. He's laying on the ground on Mustafar, and fire overtakes his body. And this is where this scene, this image comes
You
from.
were
the
my
start
brother,
of
Anakin.
His
I love
immolation.
you.
It was so the way that it's executed is so fantastic. The face that's on Anakin, the way that he's posed with his hand reaching up, like you can see this image and see it in the movie. Like if you look at this shot, you can see the exact moment that this happens within the movie.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, this was just so well executed. The colors are so bright and rich too. I mean, the figure itself, this Anakin figure, that is the focus of the shot. Obi-Wan's just, he's in the foreground, and he's not the focus. So seeing Anakin and then the fire and the lava.
Great perspective going on here. And guess what? I've had both these figures for months. I've just been too pussy to take shots of them. And now that I see this, I don't want to take shots of them. I can't top this. And the reason I made up the fictitious contest is because, Nick, recently, obviously, these have been somewhat new release figures in the community. So a lot of people have been putting up recreations of Rots, in particular the Mustafar battle. And that's one of the reasons I haven't taken a stab at it. So, like, damn, everyone got out in front of me. I don't even want to try to recreate what people have done. And what Figure Hurts have done right here has, in my mind, eliminated any chance of trying to recreate this scene. This is the best I've seen. There have been some fantastic other recreations from other toy photographers of the Mustafar battle between Anakin and Obi. But in my opinion, this is money because this is mostly practical. Like the shit you see there, the dude made the fucking lava out of expanding foam like in between his bed sheets.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Like, I can't believe that this shot isn't shot on some sort of volcano.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like it's he made this, he took this shot on a volcano, a real volcano. Like, this is definitely one of the best scene recreation shots I've seen, period, within the top 5.
It's fantastic. And they even took the extra step to actually put in the scene dialogue. Like, you were the chosen one. You were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them. You were supposed to bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. I hate you. You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
It's just
like one of the only good moments of ROTS.
Yeah, I mean, it was
because before that, I mean, honestly, the battle was a goddamn jerk off lightsaber waving
one time.
festival.
Like, eventually, we need to get your buddy who's in the stunt game.
I'll get him on. Like, I know, like, some of you people already have just discounted me as a prequel hater, but I'll tell you right now, like, if you want to talk legitimate sword fights and stunts, it's considered one of the most laughable sequences in all of stunts.
Yeah. So one day for you listeners out there, we'll have this guy come on the podcast and break down to you from a professional sense, not like, oh, I hate it because it's prequel material and it's garbage. Like from a professional stunt man.
Did you guys like the stunts in The Punisher season 2? You like those stunts? Guess what? The guy I'm talking about was the fucking stunt coordinator.
So he's got legit qualifications.
Do you think
now.
you guys are gonna like Avengers Endgame? You think you're gonna like it? You think you're gonna like the action in it? Guess what? This guy's in Avengers Endgame.
There you go, man.
He may be fucking CGI Thanos, by the way. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Maybe he could be that. But again, like that shot by Figure Hurt's fantastic. Moving on to the next one. This shot here really fucking grabbed me.
So let's honestly let's analyze this because I want your take on who you think this is.
So Darth Tenebrous, is this Darth
Vader?
This, to me, like, I can see why people think it's Vader because you look at the helmet, like you look at the piece by the neck,
right?
And people think like, oh, well, that's Vader's helmet, like that's a piece of Vader's helmet.
But then he's wearing a hood on his head.
Yeah, exactly. He has a hood up. His face is far. I mean, it looks far more disfigured than Vader's. Of course,
yeah. Like the eyes are all glassed out and smoky.
Yeah. I mean, for some reason, I'm leaning towards this kind of looks like Darth Malgus from...
I get you, man, but I don't know. It's like... Because I even read some of the comments on the initial post, and this is from Darth Tenebrous on Instagram, Darth_TENEBROUS.
Yeah.
With the rock and roll symbols. I don't know, man. I mean, that bottom plate is so Vader to me.
It is.
It's like dead on Vader fucking armor. I mean, outside the top helmet piece that locks into the mouth plate. But like you said, I think it could work for your guy too.
It could. I mean, it's so close. I mean, because the thing that really makes me think it's Malgus is because of the hood. And because Malgus does have, like, the color of the skin. Malgus's skin is very, very pale. And, like, I haven't seen the new return of Darth Malgus into Star Wars The Old Republic. His character has come back after you defeated him in the Fallen Emperor raid. Or not raid, the instance.
This is SWTOR, right? Not KOTOR.
Yeah, this is SWTOR. This is the
By the way,
MMO,
SWTOR, do you see they're hosting like a huge fan party that you should probably go to next week?
I saw something about that. I don't know how huge it's going to be because the population of that game has gotten pretty low.
They were advertising it on the celebration email we got today, right?
Okay. Yeah, they were.
I don't know if you looked at it, but they sent out their email reminding that the panels have been extended. By the way, people, we probably won't have this cast up by the time they end, so it doesn't matter, but they extended the lotteries from the 4th to the 8th now.
Yeah, till Monday. So if
it ain't going to happen, so Tuesday, this is stupid. I'm dumb for even bringing it up. And by the way, if you're hearing it now, you're probably going, fuck, I missed it, I'm stupid. And yes, you're right, you are stupid.
Yeah, you have to you got these emails too. So
we got our lotteries in day one. I mean, last Saturday I spent like 30 minutes entering fucking lottery bullshit for panels. I was dropping Nick's name on random badges. Who knows if we're going to get in, but I did it.
Yeah, it's like, we'll see.
I really think, Nick, the system they have in mind for this con is fantastic. I'm really hesitant to believe that it's actually going to all work the way they think it's going to work.
Yeah, I think that with situations like this, with cons like this, shit always goes wrong.
If it works the way they intend to, I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm all about the lottery system. I think that is the best way to handle the panels, the major panels. I don't want to fucking sleep over for 20 hours. So I'm all right taking a risk, just fucking throwing into a lottery. 100%. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they're not allowing anybody to do that.
Right.
Like,
you
cannot
can't
sleep
even
over.
sleep over, period, here. Like, that's gone. Like, from Orlando show 2 years ago to this, that's over.
Yeah.
That's over. And I think the Lightspeed virtual reservation for the other panels, that's going to be cool, too. I'm hesitant to believe that the tech is going to hold up.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But anyways, back to this guy. I still
yeah.
think it could be Anakin. I mean, if you look at the face, definitely
Younger,
looks like
yeah.
got fucking burnt to hell. And
Yep.
honestly, if you reflect back on what Sebastian Shaw,
Yes, Sebastian Shaw is the guy who plays Bucky. No, that's Sebastian
that's
Stan.
Stan.
Sebastian Shaw, yeah.
I
you're
think
right.
I'm right. Yeah, I'm right. But
Yeah,
it still works because Sebastian Stan is essentially Mark Hamill's young doppelganger.
Exactly.
So it's all in the same universe. But either way, if you look at Vader unmasked in Jedi, it does not match what we see in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the guy was fucking physically deformed and devastated from the lava.
Yeah.
And this face, what we're looking at from Darth Tenebris, to me, reflects properly what Anakin's face probably would have looked like.
Yeah, I mean, specifically with the eyes. Like
Eyes
when you're
burn
entire,
out. Fuck
yes.
yeah.
Yes. So I could see this being like a pre-episode 4 shot or like way, like, you know.
Yeah, like he's
maybe
testing himself to see how long he can last without his helmet.
Yeah, like maybe 10 years in to the, you know, to the suit. He's like, exactly, he's pushing himself. Like he's removing his helmet to see, can I even exist outside of this? And it still looks young enough in the face to where it's not the older Vader that we see clearly at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Totally.
So I do, like, that's a good point. Like, I can definitely see this as, like, an in-between episode 3 and 4 style Vader without his helmet on. But again,
he's just sitting there going, like, what the fuck did I do? Like, I do believe Vader, and it's been reflected in the comics, from the moment he made that decision, he has questioned himself.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, I could see Anakin, Vader, like, if he had a mirror, like take his helmet and just look at himself like this, like in a mirror, just like hating everything that he is, like just staring into the face of his failure.
Yeah, like I'm a fucking loser.
Yeah.
I do believe deep down he knew that he self-inflicted all of his emotional pain.
Yeah.
Like I think he knew that he's the one that killed Padme. He's the one that fucked everything up. But he knew he's so far gone, so he might as well just rely on that hate and suffering to gain the power he always wanted.
Exactly, yeah. So, actually, what I just noticed about this series of 3 shots, moving on to the next one, is like we're seeing phases of Darth Vader here. So, the first shot we have...
Yeah, you're exactly right. We see him getting fried to where he needs the armor. We see him maybe possibly taking a break from the armor. And now in the next shot that Nick's going to mention, we see him embracing the armor.
Exactly. So this next shot comes from Snapshot 501.
New account, by the way.
Yeah, so not 501, 5-letter 1.
Getting crafty.
And this is Vader as we see him, a terror, a bringer of destruction and death.
This is my guy. This is my Vader. Like
this
pre-prequels ruining him Vader.
Yeah, this is the Vader that we see
Rogue One Vader.
Exactly. In Rogue One, just ripping through an entire hallway
the best
full of
Vader,
rebels.
by the way.
Yeah, like that's the most devastating we've ever seen Vader, and that we may ever see Vader on a full big
goddamn
screen
shame,
movie.
brother, isn't it? Goddamn shame that they're never gonna do a Vader standalone. I know it.
I know, and
I don't know why.
That they're not.
I don't get why, but they're never gonna do it.
Yeah.
And he's one character, especially because of what the prequels, in my mind, again, did to him, deserves, especially after that fucking 2-minute segment in Rogue One, that essentially everyone claimed was the best Star Wars they've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right?
It was I mean, what that did was take the Vaders, because, all right, in Force Unleashed, let's go back a little bit. In Force Unleashed, the first one, the very first thing you do, the good one, yes, the good Force Unleashed, the very first thing you do in that video game, you turn on your console, you boot up the video game, you get into Force Unleashed, and you're playing as Vader.
And you kill an entire, like, you literally walk through an entire village like it's nothing.
Yes, and you use the Force like you've never experienced it before. In anything, like, you use the Force to blast down massive buildings, doors, everything. You just walk through.
You use the Force, Nick, as it was explained to us in the prequels with the Chosen One.
Yeah, the most powerful Force
to me,
user
that's
we've
what it
ever
was. Like, you finally get to see what the most powerful Force user can do.
Exactly.
You don't get that in the movies. You don't get it in the prequels at all. You don't get it in the original trilogy at all, even worse than the prequels. You only get a glimpse of it in Rogue One.
Yeah, so that is the Vader that we see here in this shot.
Exactly.
This terror, this bringer of death.
A man of power and intimidation. I love the lighting that Snapshot achieved here. I'm assuming most of the effects are digital, which is fine. I mean, if you do them the right way, they still look great. But it's a very imposing, powerful Vader shot, and that's always going to get me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best thing about this is like you said, you know, these other two shots leading up to it, this is Vader at his most powerful. This is the Vader that we've come to know and fear and love and hate and everything. And it's just such a well-executed shot by Snapshot.
Well, I've never hated Vader until he was Anakin Skywalker.
I mean, there's people out there, the true rebellion will hate Darth Vader because of what he did to the galaxy. Right? You got to have a little bit of...
Oh, he's a horrible person.
Yeah, you
got
to
to
have
a
a
person,
little bit
but again, they don't reflect that.
It's
They
true.
don't really reflect. We really don't get to see how horrible Vader is at all. I'm not even talking just prequels. I'm even talking the original trilogy. We don't really get to see him being a monster in the original trilogy. Yeah, he chokes out Antilles and he's mean to Leia. But outside of torturing Han and freezing him in the original trilogy, really, what does Vader do that is so bad?
Yeah, I mean, Vader is there as an imposing figure. And like we've mentioned on this podcast before, like one of the earliest introductions of Vader that we get in episode 4 is literally him being not reprimanded, but spoken down to heavily by the Moffs.
He's treated like a bitch.
Yeah.
At the Council of the Moffs.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
almost
even
like
then, I mean, even Leia makes fun of him. Oh, you know, I knew you wouldn't be too far from Tarkin's leash. Like, you're a little bitch, you little bitch.
Exactly. Like, so.
And he is a bitch. He's a Sand-hating bitch.
The idea of Vader as a badass, the idea of Vader as a badass, really, like, you don't get to see it a lot. Like, you don't get to see that powerful Vader, and that's what's. You know,
that's why you and I have been screaming from the top of the hills, like, give us at least a standalone.
Yeah.
Standalone. Tell the comic run that picks up right after he becomes Vader, even if it's just one movie.
I mean, a fucking Disney Plus is going all in on Star Wars content.
Sure,
give us a
TV show. I don't give a fuck.
Like a 10-episode season of just between episode 3, episode 4 Vader. Give us the growing pains of Vader that we see a little bit of in Rogue One when he's in that bacta chamber, when he's suspended there, you know, in his physical form, not within his suit. Like, let us see the struggles. Let us see his transformation from Anakin Skywalker at the end of episode 3 to Darth Vader that we meet in episode 4. Like, that's the kind of content that we want. Anyway, we're coming to the end here. We're coming up on number 5, but it's not the end. Number 5's not the end of this post, my friends. But we'll get to that after number 5. So moving in to number 5, we have a fantastic shot. It's another like action piece from Another World X75. That's his Instagram handle, Another World X75. And this shot is fantastically posed. It's an action shot with a bunch of stormtroopers. they're posted up on a hill. So there's like a crest, like a sand hill crest, and they're clearly in the midst of a massive, incredibly heated battle. One of them looks like they either just exploded or a grenade has gone off next to them.
This one,
it's chaos.
Yeah, this is as, and I think this is shot 4, by the way. Even though you're right, we should just skip over the last shot because I don't want to talk about it. But anyways, dude, this is, to me, I believe the caption I put, like, what a cinematic shot. I mean, this is cinema to me. I mean, it's, as Nick said, we've got multiple sand troopers lined up, all in different poses. We got some smoke, some fire, some laser bolts going on. Fuck, it even looks like they're posted up next to one of the Egyptian pyramids, for all I know.
Yeah.
But it's a well-composed shot. I like the pose of the troopers, and as I said, it's cinematic. I mean, it feels like a still that we grabbed from a war movie.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, this looks like a battle, like in the midst of a battle.
Even look at the sun creeping up over there. I don't know if that's the actual sun, if we used a light. If it's the actual sun, to me, it's even more impressive because you can't control the position of that.
Yeah.
I love the lighting. I love the effects, and of course, as dumb as they are and as bad as they are at shooting, I'm always a sucker for stormtroopers. I've said this from day one. I love the Imperial aesthetic. I love stormtrooper armor. I love Vader's armor. I love the Star Destroyers, the Super Star Destroyers, the TIE Fighters, the Advanced, the Bombers. I'm an Imperial guy through and through in terms of design, so I'm always going to appreciate a trooper shot, especially in an ensemble like this. Good poses, great action, great practical effects. Just, it's an A shot all around from Another World X-75.
Yeah, just fantastic all around. So, we've rounded out the top 5, but as I teased,
still on 4 because some asshole is number 5.
So I had this is what I did. I gave Matt a true top 5 because I know that if I put his shot in the top 5,
yeah, you're right. You did, didn't you?
I added in an additional. This is a 6th shot for everybody out there.
I got 430 likes on this.
This deserves more than 430 likes.
Right, well, so I'm gonna let Nick Matt, run with this next one.
This shot, this is how I found it. Matt, as you know, he does not share his own work on Star Wars Time Show Instagram, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, that's right. Everything Kylo.
We are champions of the community, and we have an entire website that's dedicated to our egos and 2 podcasts that we do every week. So I'm okay with him not putting up his own work if he doesn't want to. I'm not opposed to it, but if he doesn't want to do it, I'm okay with it. But I was scrolling through my own Instagram feed, just my personal one, and I follow Matt's photography Instagram on there, and I saw this shot and I was like, holy shit, man. Like, if there is ever a time for me to just put up a cool looking shot that Matt has done on a Star Wars Time property, this is the time. Like, this would, like, I was scrolling and I was like, man, this is just a fun fucking shot.
And I can literally point out the errors in it as I
This is how Matt is, man. Like, we just talked about not 10 minutes ago, he's got 5 shots in the finals for Star Wars Celebration. He's got this fantastic shot here that I shared with all of the Star Wars Time fans and listeners, and he's still bagging on himself. So what we have here, Matt titled Beast Pit Breakout, and we can see in the background Chewbacca standing with a stormtrooper hoisted above his head in a truly terrific and like just a menacing strength pose. About almost looks like he's about to rip this trooper in half.
Yeah, he's He-Man-ing him.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Power Grayskull shit.
And then in the foreground, we have, like, my favorite part of this shot is the Gamorrean. Gamorrean. A Gamorrean guard.
Hey, by the way, he's a fantastic figure, Nick. I mean, this Gamorrean guard is a Target exclusive that released in 2018. He's very hard to get even still, especially if you live in Columbus, Ohio. I've never seen him yet in my Target. I actually had someone from Instagram hook me up with him, but he poses well. He looks fantastic. and he's got some soft goods. So yes, Gamorrean guard, great little subject for Star Wars toy photography.
Oh yeah, I mean, he just like the way that you pose him and the look, like his face to me is just like the highlight. It looks like he has just seen, or he's running away from literally something that's gonna kill him.
He's ready to roll. So, all right, if you're gonna make me break it down a little bit, I'll do it. So,
okay.
By the way, this shot's probably 6 months old. So that just goes to show you how slow I move in my edits. So if you want to like get a little insights into my experience with toy photography, my favorite part is shooting the toys, like setting them up and taking the actual picture. Outside of that, I'm not a huge fan of the hobby. I hate doing the digital edits. That's why this shot is literally 5 to 6 months old. And I believe my skills have increased since I've taken it, but whatever, Nick picked it, so we're going to talk about it. I think the posing is suspect here. The Minbon Trooper, honestly, if you look at his cape, half of it is erased because I did it to get rid of the stand to hold him up, so I think that looks like shit. Chewbacca, if you looked at his right leg, it's super orange at the bottom. That's a fuck up. It's super orange on his hand. That's a fuck up. And if you look at the Gamorrean guard, he is out of focus, which is okay because the Minbon Trooper is in focus, but it's still, hey, whatever. I mean, like I said, art is subjective. As someone that takes pictures, sometimes I think what I do is okay. Sometimes I think it sucks. A lot of times it's due to the reactions I get on IG. So when I put up work that I think's good and it gets 100 likes, in turn it makes me feel like it sucked. And I start to doubt my talents. That's why I don't like talking about my work and why I don't like it featured in our top 5 segment. But I do respect Nick's opinion. Again, it's all subjective. So I'm honored that he wanted to throw one of my shots up. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm not thrilled with the shot. Like I could literally pick the shot apart. I mean, you can see my house in the background. It's like I said, the Minbon Trooper. I erased some of the cape. The coloring on some of the Chewbacca fire is off, in my opinion.
I mean, come on. Now, look, if you approach this shot the same way that you approach every other shot that we break down, I think that you could give the people out there a really good insight into how to make something like this.
Okay, so to make it, honestly, I mean, I'm trying my best to start including behind the scenes. So if you just scroll over and look, you can see the setup. I literally do the shot in my backyard, which is a plain as Jane, Columbus, Ohio backyard as it gets. It's on a fucking card table that you can get for $20 at Walmart. There's some mud on it. There's some random stones on it. And I use a plastic, I believe an SH Figure Arts figure stand to pose the trooper in a running stance. And the Gamorrean and Chewbacca, they're posed on their own. They're standing up. And the explosions are a byproduct of something called crackling balls, which if you have fireworks stores around you, you can find them. They're called literally called crackling balls. So what I do is I get everyone set up. I place the crackling balls where I want to place them. My camera has a remote shutter. Like literally, I have a remote in my hand. So whenever I hit the button, it will start taking pictures at a rapid pace with a high speed. So I'll light the fireworks. I'll watch them get close to their ignition point, and as soon as they hit it, I hold the button down. And that's basically how this shot's pulled out. The shot is actually a composite of probably 5 shots of the same setup. So luckily with the app I use, it's Infinity Photo for iPad, I can literally load up 10 shots of the same scene that have various different changes. In my line of work, the changes are always going to be in the background because the figures are always posed where they should be posed. So, Nick, this is actually a combination of probably 5 shots to pull off the full fire effect.
Okay, damn. See, like I would
Yeah.
never have known that. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So
That's
there's
pretty cool.
multiple frames of the same shot combined to make all the elements pop a bit more.
Gotcha. Okay. That's a fantastic
Little
breakdown on
little
something like
inside, little behind the covers for you people. I mean, this
Yeah.
was not just a single frame that I nailed and I got lucky on. This is a combination of 5 different shots that this software literally will essentially stack on top of each other, and I can pick the amount of merging I want. Do I want a maximum effect merge, basically merge in everything from every different shot to give me the most intensity, or do I want a median, or do I want the least amount of merge? But yeah, this is about 5 shots combined into one.
Yeah, I mean this is fantastic. And one other thing, so for the trooper in the front, for the Mimbon trooper in the front, like is that dirt? Like what did you use to like muddy him up to look like that? Is that just
That's
dirt?
honestly that's how the character came.
Oh, okay, so it
That's
came out of the
how,
box like that.
Because I typically will weather most of my troopers because I think a pure white trooper it's just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're doing Death Star shots, I find it hard to believe that an army unit or a military unit in an all white uniform doesn't get scuffs and dirt, right?
Yeah. 100%.
But yeah, no, actually, Nick, these Hasbro, this is how they released them, and I didn't do anything special to this. A lot of times, even some that they do weather out of the factory, I'll still add my own shoe polish to give it more. This, I was like, fuck it, I think it looks weathered enough. So yeah, that's just straight out of the package Mimbom there.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, again, like the context behind, if you wouldn't have told me that this was a composite of 5 shots, I would have never known. I would have just figured you burst shot like you did the burst shot when all the crackling balls went off,
that's how I
found,
do it.
Boom, the
So
perfect
it is.
one.
It's literally I light the balls and then I will burst. So I might initially take 40 shots. I'll then cut those shots down to 5, and then I use digital editing tools to merge those.
Yeah.
So pretty much all my shots, I'm always like when I did my Luke series, I had 33 final shots that I shared. Those 33 shots came from 3,000 total shots.
Okay. Jeez.
Yes.
Well, that gives me and everybody listening like great context, because like clearly some people think that like, oh, they just set up a fucking some toys and take a picture. Like there's legit work, editing, time, setup, everything that goes into this. Like there's a lot of work that goes into
I
these
can only
photographs.
speak for myself, but I'm pretty sure any other toy photographer out there will confirm that no one gets the shot they share on the first shot.
Yeah. So
it's usually a composite of multiple, or you take enough to find the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well,
that's what this is. This is I took a bunch of high-speed frame shots, which gave me a bunch to choose from. I whittled them down to 5 and said, you know what? If I merge these 5 together, that's going to give me the best composition.
There we go. Now
so
everybody
that's
knows.
how you do it, people. But in the end, I still don't think it was that good. But hey, whatever.
If there's some of you people who've been listening to Star Wars Time Show and you're like, I like the show, but the top 5 thing, I just don't get it. Now you know why we have this segment. Matt broke down to you in detail all of the work that goes into capturing shots like this. So we want to call out this kind of stuff.
We're not just jerk-offs out there playing with toys into our late 30s. I mean, there's some thought and work put into this stuff. So before we wrap this segment, just real quick, I want to give an honorable mention shout-out to 3 toy photography artists that I look up to. They're very motivational within the space. They're great community ambassadors. And really, I'm doing this because Nick brought up a shot on my own, so I feel like we need to highlight some other people because it's not what I want the top 5 for to be talking about my shit. Because to me, it's shit. But anyways, what I'm going to talk about, and anyone within the toy photography community, especially if you're in the Star Wars scene, you know exactly who I'm about to mention. And these are the C3P Bros. That is at Work More or Less, at SWTS, at BLKSRS. I believe we've featured Zay, who is BLKSRS, before on our top 5 segment. I'm not sure we've covered SWTS, who is Spencer, or at Work More or Less, who is Jason. But these guys, every week, they roll with this hashtag, which is, #C3P Bros _JSI. So what the deal is here is that these three will sit together and decide on, hey, this is a figure we're going to shoot this week. You guys go ahead and do what you got to do with this figure. So this past week, Nick, they decided on the Mud Trooper figure from the Hasbro line, which, without the helmet, it's Han. Spoilers.
Okay.
But as you can see from these images that I shared within our chat, Nick, and obviously they're not going to be in your top 5 post deal. I'll have them in the YouTube version of the cast. If you're watching along, you're seeing them right now. But what these guys did, they chose the Minbon Trooper from Hasbro. It's a $20 figure. But if you look at these images, does that look like a $20 figure?
No, dude. Like, especially, clicking through these, the one from Work More or Less.
Oh my God.
This looks like
1/6 scale at least. This looks like a Barbie doll size figure. What at Work More or Less did with his Mud Trooper submission, it literally looks like a $250 figure.
Yeah, the way that it's posed, the way that it's shot, the lighting,
just fantastic.
Everything just makes it look so cool.
But then, you move on to Spencer's shot at SWTS. The lighting, again, just as impressive. He's got a nice pose going on. He's got some other troopers there to add to the scenery. Again, just awesome. And then, obviously, you get down the homeboy Black Series Zay. This guy is just as adept at using lens flares as JJ himself, but he's also fantastic at the practical effects. You want to talk about an Atmosphere Aerosol Pro, Zay is your man. Those little fire spots, Nick, those are literally lit toilet paper.
Really?
That is lit toilet paper that he in turn sprayed Atmosphere Aerosol into to provide the smoke and stuff. And then Black Series always adds that blue lens flare. It doesn't matter which shot. That is his thing. It's almost like his trademark. Yeah. But it's always perfect where he places it. So just real quick. Again, these aren't in our top 5, but I'm not saying it like they suck. These guys are fucking awesome. They're some of the 3 best in the Black Series toy photography community. I just wanted to spotlight them real quick because I felt bad taking up time that we talked about one of my shots. So that's our IG segment for the week. Fantastic shots. I do appreciate Nick sharing mine. I'm not going to be a complete douche and act like, I blah, blah. I'm not one of those people, but I am an artist. I will always be more critical of myself than other people. So I do appreciate Nick throwing one of my shots in there, and I'm sure Everton Kylo will too. Love you, Jesse. All right, man, let's go ahead and move on to some of our other fandom segments because we're not done with fandom yet. Because honestly, this week, Nick, basically devoid of any legit news, and it makes sense. That's Lucasfilm and Disney holding back their load for next week, so we didn't get a ton of stuff to talk about that's rumor-based, speculation-based for Episode 9, Mando, whatever. But because we do our due diligence and we love the fans, we do have some other fandom stuff to talk about.
Yeah, so the first piece that we got here is talking about the visual effects of Star Wars. That's what Star Wars really is. Even going back to the original trilogy, Star Wars brought visual effects to the screen that nobody had ever seen before.
I've talked to my dad, who would have been probably in his early 30s, late 20s when this came out, when A New Hope came out. And it's the same stuff you hear from anyone that saw it in the 70s. Like, Jesus fuck. What the hell was that?
Yeah.
We've never seen this shit. That fucking mega starship flying over our heads to start. That essentially melted their brains.
Yeah, they're used to seeing spaceships like you would see in the Day the Earth Stood Still, where it's like 2 metal plates taped on top of each other,
like on some fish wire. Honestly, before A New Hope, the best space movie you had in terms of special effects was 2001.
Yeah, but they're like
Because
again,
even
like,
George says is like that motivated him to make his effects even better.
yeah, and like that is the keystone of Star Wars. I mean, it is a well told story set in a in a wonderfully created world, but Star Wars always pushes the visual effects and what visual effects can do. Even now, like Star Wars was the first film, I believe, to use a fully CGI recreated human. Like,
Yeah,
when,
Jar
what
Jar,
they
I believe,
did-
is the first ever fully executed CGI main character, or supporting character.
Yeah, and then jumping forward, if we look at the work that was done to bring Peter Cushing back to life in Rogue One, fully CGI, like that was a fully CGI recreation of a previously living human.
Yeah,
and like
they
we've
hired
never
some
seen
dude that could match his voice, and they just put a bunch of dots on his head and fucking stapled on Peter Cushing's face.
Yeah, like it was crazy. So like that's always what they're known for. And what we have here is a video from the Corridor crew that breaks down Star Wars ships and space stations in particular. So what we get to look at here is how these ships, these space stations, compare to the size of things on Earth.
Yeah, and that was
So-
the cool part, Nick, because I mean, obviously, we've seen these things in the movies, but they're mostly always in space, so you don't really get to really fully realize their true scale. And what this video does is a VFX artist took their scale and showed us what it would look like contrasted to earthly objects, be it cities, buildings, skyscrapers, highways, whatever.
Yeah, and what's really cool about it is that they went into the best canon information that they can, and they got real measurements for these things. At some point in the video, the host says, this is the actual, 660 kilometers wide is the actual measurements that was used for Starkiller Base. While we thought it was bigger than that, because we think of Starkiller Base as a full planet, like we thought that it's essentially a hollowed out planet, when really Starkiller Base is very small, like put right next to our own Earth. Like if you match them up, Starkiller Base,
It's
not
still
nearly
better.
as big
It's
as
still
we
bigger than the Death Stars. And speaking of Death Stars, I don't know if you watched the whole thing, Nick, but did you know that I've always heard that Death Star 2 was bigger than Death Star 1. I
Yeah.
guess I didn't realize how much bigger it was.
Yeah, it's significantly bigger.
Yeah,
I mean,
even
and
though
that's-
they're the same exact build, it is at least, what do you say, 2 times the size, maybe?
Yeah, very close. Like they mentioned the measurements of each, but it's significantly bigger, and that's pre-completion. I mean, obviously they had the frame of it kind of already framed out, but
if
watching
you
the
drop,
movies, you would never know.
what they showed is if you would have dropped the 2 Death Stars on Earth, they basically took up the island of Japan.
Yeah,
Like, that's how
So-
big they were.
yeah.
Or
they're
if you
massive
dropped
space.
Vader's Super Star Destroyer from Return of the Jedi, it's basically the size of Long Island, New York.
Yeah, the entire
That's the type.
length of it.
Or if you drop the Falcon in the middle of an interstate, it would take up all 8 lanes. I mean, that's why I like this video. It just it really provided. I mean, yes, the VFX looked awesome, but it provided fantastic visual examples of what Star Wars vehicles, in particular starships, would look like on Earth and how much space they would take up. And these things are way bigger than I think we have been able to realize based on how they're portrayed in the movies, because they're always in space, contrasted against other big fucking starships.
Yeah, the only opportunity that we've ever really had to assess the scale, I guess you would say, of any of these space stations or ships was probably in Rogue One. And that's because Gareth Edwards, that's like his thing. He's a visual genius. So like the closest that we could get is that scene in Rogue One where we see a Star Destroyer in atmosphere hanging above the Temple of the Wills and taking away these kyber crystals.
No, you're dead on. Yep.
But like even within that, like most people don't have a sense of scale to like what that actual physical structure looks like. Like we've never been on site to where it was filmed. We have no idea how big it is, so we still don't know scale wise how big that Star Destroyer is. But put it, like you said, Matt, like putting these things in real life situations, real world settings, gives us a fantastic example of what the hell they actually look like. One of the things that I thought was cool is they said that if you take a standard Star Destroyer and you stood it straight up, like from, with the bow on the ground and the nose pointing straight up, it's taller. It's a mile long. It's a mile tall, which is taller than the largest building on the planet, which is in Dubai.
Dubai, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was really fucking cool. The one thing that did annoy me about this video is how this dude said the fucking words. Like, he said the last jetty probably 3 or 4 times, and I wanted to pop my ears off. Like, just the way
I wonder
he
if he was doing
shit.
that just to be a douchebag because he doesn't like The Last Jedi.
I mean, I think he might have, because I was like, God. But he also said some other stuff wrong too. It was very weird. Like I think he was doing it intentionally, but
I'm not claiming these guys are like legit Star Wars fans. I appreciate what they at least took their time to do with their VFX skills. I thought it was neat, and I did think that other Star Wars fan would get a kick out of it, because I mean, typically we're not going to throw shit up on StarWarsTime.net just to do it. If we ever do, it would be my fault because I'm kind of a post junkie, content junkie.
And like, it's been hard because, like you said, Matt, this week they're literally holding back all the news.
Oh
they
yeah,
can
I mean, this week when it came to today, I was like, man, it was a pretty boring week, and I just was like, wow, makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, next week is just gonna be. It's gonna be both amazing and shitty for people like Nick and I, because yes, we're gonna love all the news we're gonna get. I'm telling you right now, just prepare for it. Friday, more than likely, we're gonna get the title and the trailer back to back. That's all gonna be mind blowing. But what that means for people like Nick and I is work.
Yeah,
work.
We're gonna be in Chicago, but
celebration's gonna be fucking work for us.
Writing up posts, recording podcasts.
Yeah, it's gonna be enjoyable work, but it's not gonna be relaxing work.
Yeah. So that's what we have to look forward to. But for this week, we did get it a little light. So after this VFX video, we're still in our fandom section, because really outside of the fandom section,
basically all we had.
we have much.
We got one little deal to talk about, and maybe a special topic, even though we've been gas bagging it like we usually do on just random shit. But moving into our next fandom deal, and this one I love because this is why I'm on the internet. I mean, this is what I started at Entertainment Buddha for way back in 2010. It's to find web gems, and this is, in my opinion, a web gem. And this artist is someone I've shared multiple times on EB, and I'll start sharing on Star Wars Time for a Star Wars project. But this guy, John Stratman, he's made a name for himself on the internet by remaking pop culture films, TV shows with 16 or 8-bit video game visuals. Like, he'll literally fire up a game engine from back in the 80s or 90s and will pixel art the fuck out of it to create something. So his latest project, Nick, that we're teasing here, he dropped a trailer for it, is he's making a 16-bit fan film of the Vader Down comic series from 2016. And that is a comic series I can actually say I've read, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's exactly what Nick and I were talking about earlier, where we want a Vader film. This comic tells the story we want in a Vader film. Just to give you the kind of the TLDR, Vader's on a mission, comes across a rebel fleet. He basically takes out a full fleet and a squadron, crash lands on a planet, and then he decides to take out a full battalion of rebel soldiers just to flex his muscles. So what Stratman's going to do is recreate all of that in 16-bit. So he dropped the trailer for it, and that's what we shared.
Yeah, so this what I want people to realize is that this isn't gonna be like a video game that you play. This is gonna be like a film, like a 16-bit film.
Right. It's a remake. See. It's a remake using video game storytelling technology.
Yeah, so you don't often see stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of short videos on the internet and stuff like that where you have 16-bit graphics retelling, little pieces of lore of different series. But, like, this is going to be as close to a full recreation, I assume, of the Vader Down comic as possible using 16-bit graphics, which I think is really cool. And if there are some young people out there listening to the podcast, you're like, what the fuck is 16-bit graphics? Super Nintendo. Think Super Nintendo. If you ever played Super Mario World, if you ever played any type of fucking Street Fighter,
Genesis, anything 16-bit. I mean, it's 16-bit. It's a little more fleshed out than 8-bit. So there's a few more pixels making the characters, but someone that grew up in that era, I'm telling you right now, Nick would have been too young. I
played a lot of SNES.
Okay. Did you play the Super Star Wars Trilogy then?
I did not. I didn't play Super Star Wars Trilogy, which at the time, I will say, you're right. I was young, so I probably wasn't in my Star Wars.
You weren't keyed up on it yet.
Exactly.
But I'm telling you right now, Nick, I mean, if you find an emulator or you're a tech guy, just steal it, configure it. The Super Star Wars Trilogy on SNES is probably some of the best side-scrolling 2D Star Wars you're ever going to get. It's going to be difficult. It's going to piss you off, but it was for the time the best you could get to try to recreate A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi.
Because we don't do you know how many people would go nuts for something like that today?
Well, dude, I would take these at this point. I would take 16-bit Star Wars games over what we're getting. I mean, I don't give a fuck about Battlefront.
Yeah.
I don't care. It was fun. It was fun on the original Xbox before they fucked everything up and you could fly up and take over ships and all that shit. It hasn't been fun to me since. Battlefront 2, great campaign, loved it. Outside of that, I don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. Nick and I want legitimate AAA story narrative-based Star Wars games. If you're not going to give us that, give us some motherfucking SNES Super Star Wars.
SNES, that might be the best console of all time. I know we got a lot of PS2.
It is. And I made the wrong choice in my life. At that point in time, I was a rebel. I went for Genesis.
But
because it was different. But no, I mean, SNES has some of probably the most iconic and time-tested titles ever. I mean, Zelda Link to the Past, get the fuck out of here. The best ever.
I mean, there's just so much good content on that console. If you can find one, I know that there are video game secondhand shops around the country. Go see if you can grab yourself an SNES. If you can't get the SNES Mini, if it's still available on Amazon somewhere else, play those games if you haven't. But moving back to this project, what's super exciting to me about this is that not only are we getting it in a cool art style, but we're getting a visual representation, an action, a moving picture representation of what is probably the best Vader comic series ever. At least, from what you've told me, I haven't read it, but it's the best representation of Vader's power in a comic series ever.
It's something that maybe next weekend I'll re-download into my iPad and let you scan through it. I think it's maybe 3 or 4 book run. I mean, it is a... There was a Vader series, and this was kind of like a special run, and it ended, and then we had last year's Vader series. They're literally two different things. This is the first Marvel rebooted Vader series, and its special run, but it's just, to me, it's exactly what I want in a Vader standalone. It's just showing what this pimp can do when he's motivated to kick ass.
I mean, he takes down an entire battalion by himself. That maybe that wasn't clear to some of you people listening.
By the way, Nick, in space and on the ground. I mean, he probably takes out, I don't know the exact number, but I think it was at least 10 rebel starfighters he takes out in his TIE Advance before they disable it and he crash lands. But by the time he crash lands, it's like, all right, Now just take on a battalion, which is,
Yeah.
multiple units of soldiers and
Yeah.
vehicles and tanks and this, that, and the other thing.
The guy, this is what we want. Like, the guy
Yes.
can literally single-handedly
Yes.
destroy armies. in
Show
the
why
air
he
and
was
on the
called the
ground.
Chosen One. We never got to fucking see it. That's come on.
Man, so
Show
stuff
why
like
he was the
this.
Chosen One. We never got to see it in the live action movies. That's why I have so many issues.
Here we go. Here we
Clone
go.
Wars Anakin, yes, we got it. We saw his powers. We saw how they fucked with him. We just didn't get in the movies, and that's why they bum me out. But
Live
again,
action Vader.
I've
give it.
made my pledge not to rail on it anymore. It's a shame. It is what it is. It's, again, my personal opinion, but I just think Vader was shortchanged in those prequels because they didn't show how powerful Anakin really was.
Yeah. So, to wrap up this piece, if you guys want to follow along with this project, obviously Matt said we're going to be posting all the updates, all the new videos that come out. But if you want to follow John Stratman on YouTube, you can just search his name, John Stratman, on YouTube, and you'll see his channel.
And we will always post anything he does Star Wars related, and pretty much anything he doesn't do Star Wars related will be on entertainmentbuddha.com. So don't worry about it. I mean, I've been following this guy for years. I'm glad that he's starting to make stuff for his own channel because he usually, I believe, sells his services to other channels to help them pump up their subs and whatnot. And I think this is going to be one of his first that he's launching on his own. So good luck to John. He said part 1 should be releasing. If you're listening now, it may already be on StarWarsTime.net. If not, you should bookmark it and check it out because he said he's going to try to drop part 1 before Celebration. So I would assume we will have this on our site next,
Wednesday at the latest, then.
Yeah, basically, if you're listening when this cast drops, it should be out tomorrow.
Yeah, so make sure to check the site, StarWarsTime.net, hit it up, and check it for all the content. All right, Matt.
All right, Matt. So, yeah.
We got one
Last
item
piece here.
left. And, I mean, we've somehow dragged on 3 topics for as long as we have.
I
We're over
agree.
the hour mark.
I mean, there's a time where we're like, we may have to talk about one of our special topics we have planned. Because, by the way, people, we just don't. We never just regurgitate news. I hope you guys don't think that's what we are. I mean, yes, we talk about the news, but I think we give a pretty in-depth spin on it, and we speculate, and we do this, that, and the other thing. But it was a light week, but we still, as Nick and I do, we were spitting out that diarrhea, those corn shits out of our mouth. And we've extended it way beyond we thought, so we're not going to do any special topics tonight, but we do have one last piece to talk about. That's probably going to generate some conversation. So I think, Nick, CinemaCon was going on this week, which, by the way, we need to figure out how to get into
Yeah.
next year because
We'll try to pull some strings and see
yeah,
if there's any.
I mean, I don't think we're ever going to see like Star Wars stuff there because it doesn't need it, but
No.
we need to be at CinemaCon because I'm a cinephile. I think you're a cinephile. It sounds like a whole bunch of fun, even much more so than South by Southwest, this, that, and the other thing. This is just all cinema. Anyways, Rian Johnson was at CinemaCon. Now, some of you people, when I say that, you're probably instantly cowering in a ball crying. I still don't understand that, but again, hey, to each your own. We all have our own opinions. It is what it is. But at CinemaCon this week, Nick, it was essentially confirmed that once Rian is done finalizing, promoting, sees it launch in theaters, his next film, which is called Knives Out, he's coming back to star in that trilogy. That Star Wars trilogy I'm talking about.
So this is giving us a timeline. Like, we
Yeah.
knew that the Rian trilogy was out there. Like, we knew that it was going to happen. We just had no idea when. Like, he pretty much, after TLJ, he spent a long period of time on Twitter answering to the trolls for some reason and feeding them in some instances. But we had no timeline on, like, when this stuff was going to happen. Now we know Knives Out's already finished filming. It's about to go on the promotional tour. And then once the release happens, he's going to work on on a new Star Wars trilogy. Now, a
tiny project.
Small project. 3 small movies that are probably going to be 2.5 hours each.
Few Disney indie films.
Yeah, not a big budget. You're only talking probably
they're
200 million.
They're not Skywalker Saga, so it's indie.
Yeah. So I'm actually, like, being serious, I am actually curious to see how much money they're going to give them for each film. Like, do you think they give them 200 million? Think they give them 150 million?
Come on.
Like,
I'd say 200 at minimum, 150 at minimum.
Yeah.
At minimum.
I mean,
the guy made him over $1 billion. I mean,
Yeah.
I know, yes, there's some of those fans out there that fucking hate his guts and think he's awful. And honestly, I kind of love it because it means we're actually starting to get the community to interact with us on IG based on our real StarWarsTime.net post. But I put it up today, and someone already commented, like, God, please help us. So he's still a divisive figure for some Star Wars fans.
Yeah, I mean, we've always said we'll take community interaction of any kind, even if it's you saying that you hate us.
Fucking
let us know.
Bring it on. Tell me I suck donkey dick. I don't care. At least I know someone's listening.
Yeah, we're happy to hear all of the criticisms, whether it be constructive or not. But I mean, what's really exciting is that, like, now we can start to put together a timeline. Okay, so we have episode 9 wrapping up filming. We have episode 9 coming out December 2019. We're months away. We're 8 months away. Now we can figure out 2020. Is something going to happen there? We have 0 announcements. But we can say 2021, maybe we get a Rian Johnson film.
Exactly. I was going to say, I think 2020 is going to be a break year for sure. And I honestly think that's only because of what happened with TLJ and obviously Solo. I do believe they had a film planned for 2020. It was either going to be that Tatooine film or parts of what they're putting in Mando or parts of what they may have done with an Obi movie. But I think Nick's right. I think at earliest, and I don't even think that's going to be a possibility, would be 2021. I think more than likely we may see Ryan's first of 3 2022.
Yeah, because now we're going to get into a period of time where I think what's going to happen is you're going to have 2 creative crews working at the same time, which is something that we've never had in Star Wars before.
So do you think they're going to lockstep Got Bros with Rian? Like, Rian drops a movie, Got Bros drop a movie, Rian drops a movie, Got Bros drops a movie until they get their 6 out?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I was getting to. Like,
so kind of like what they were doing before they fucked up the Solo release, where Skywalker standalone, so on and so forth.
Exactly. Yes. I think that's 100% going to be what's going to be happening here. Except now you're going to have 2 different creative crews that are working on completely separated projects. Like, it's highly unlikely that Ryan's trilogy is going to interact at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. Whereas with the stories, like, you weren't directly interacting with the new trilogy, but you're still in the same universe. You were still talking about the same characters, like, stuff like that. This is going to be completely new stories for both sides, which is really interesting.
Right, and I contend that Rian will be writing post 9.
Yeah.
And the Got Bros, God help us, will be doing what Nick and I talked about a few casts ago, the Old Republic.
The Old Republic. I mean, that's where...
night and day differences, but both highly viable time periods to tell awesome Star Wars stories in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're talking disconnected. One of the first things that Rian said about this trilogy is that it's disconnected in every way from the Star Wars that we know, which is super interesting. It's super interesting.
It is. And I know I've said that I'm okay with that, but I'd still like even just a lore mention to, like, oh, remember the days of Rey and Poe.
Yeah.
Just give me that if Rian is going to set it post 9. I mean, just give me that. I don't need to see Rey. I don't need to see Poe. I don't need to see Finn. Just establish them in that universe. I do believe if he is going to set it shortly after the events of 9, albeit in a different part of the galaxy, at least reference those people. The God Bros, I believe, can get away with murder, literally. I don't think they have to fucking honor anything.
Yeah.
If they are going to tell it in the Old Republic era, I think they can do whatever the fuck they want. I would love if they folded in fucking Revan and Karth and all those people we know from KOTOR. But even if they don't, I don't care. I do believe, though, if you're going to tell stuff post the Skywalker saga, that the events of that saga have to at least be present in the narrative, not the characters or anything, but the lore has to be present. Unless he's going to set it 500 years past episode 9. Okay, fine.
I think what I think would be an interesting move is if he does it at the same time as stuff that we've seen, but in a completely different galaxy. Because then what he's doing is he's establishing that the Force isn't just this galaxy thing. Like, the Force is a universal concept.
Yeah, well, I mean, he tried that in TLJ, and people want to kill him.
Yeah.
Basically saying that the Force isn't just for Skywalkers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which blows my mind that people took umbrage with that, because prior to the Skywalkers, a lot of motherfuckers had the Force.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess what I'm getting at is he wouldn't even have to say when it's happening. Like it doesn't have to be 500 years before.
No, that's an interesting take for sure, man.
But he would essentially be rebooting the episodes, not rebooting, retelling the stories. He's creating episodes in a completely different galaxy.
Yeah, right. And I'd be down with that. I am a Star Wars fan that is completely fine with brand new characters and narratives. I mean, look at Nick and I with our Resistance coverage.
Yeah.
We both genuinely enjoyed it. Yes, it folded in Skywalker Trilogy stuff, which I love, which, again, why I kind of say that if Rian is going to do stuff post-9, I would like at least mentions of the adventures of Rey. Do you remember when Rey did this? Just like Rey was talking about Luke and Han to Finn.
Yeah.
The same shit. Do you remember? Oh, wow, this is real? Luke Skywalker's real? Han Solo's real? That's what I wanted. Even just casual references like that would make me happy. But if they don't, that's fine. If they set it way deep into the future, or as Nick said, in a different galaxy, great.
Yeah.
I think that'd be awesome. I'm open to that. But there is a faction of Star Wars fandom that feels like anything non-Skywalker at this point is sacrilegious.
And I just think that you reduce your ability for creativity so much by doing that.
It's come on.
I mean, I know that here's the thing is they will say if it's not Skywalker, it's not my Star Wars, but they will go all in on Old Republic, because Old Republic was established during the time where the Skywalkers were the only thing, and Old Republic was the only thing outside of it.
It was established when Star Wars fans weren't douchebags.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine that? What do you think the reception would be if from 77 to now, all we've ever gotten was the trilogy? I mean, the entire Skywalker saga as it is now, your video games that are related to that, and your standalones, but nothing related to Old Republic. And then KOTOR came out now, and they're like, new fucking Star Wars.
Where the fuck's
Skywalkers.
Luke? Luke would never do that. Luke would never do what Revan did. What the fuck?
I mean,
that's
live in a world
everyone's hung up on what Luke would do, right?
Yeah.
Luke would never fucking wear a face mask or forget who he was.
Yeah. I mean, that's so fucked up. That's so weird about Star Wars fandom right now, because I can remember when KOTOR came out. I can remember when that game came out. I remember
this is
literally
the best thing ever.
Yeah, it was so
thank God, brand new Star Wars lore. That's all I could think.
I was into it. I can remember playing the game on my PlayStation 2 with one of my friends. We stayed up literally all night. He brought it over and he's like, "Dude, new Star Wars game. Let's fucking go." And we played it for 14 hours straight. We just played it all through the day, all through the night. It was such an immersive. Right. I mean, because this is old BioWare. It was such an immersive, fantastic
it was before
storytelling
BioWare
experience.
sucked.
Yeah, before EA essentially ripped it into pieces.
I mean, we talked about this on. We're trying to reboot a little bit of a video game or geek related topic podcast on the EB network where we came from, and we were like, dude, I mean, BioWare hasn't really put out a BioWare level game since maybe Mass Effect 3, maybe Dragon Age Inquisition. You could argue, but outside of that, anything they've put out has just been fucking trash.
I mean, in my opinion, the last true BioWare game, the last BioWare game that was BioWare as it's supposed to be was Mass Effect 2. 3,
you're one of these ME3 haters, aren't you?
No, I love 3. I really enjoyed 3, and I didn't have any kind of problem with the ending because the entirety of the games is leading you up to realize that your decisions have an impact on this game. And your decisions decide what happens. So at the end, to be given a decision on what should happen to the galaxy, that fits along with everything else that went with the game.
That's what I thought, but a lot of people got their fucking panties in a bunch.
Yeah, but I just think that with 3, they went way heavier in terms of action oriented, whereas 3, there was the perfect balance between semi-space exploration that was still there.
I'll give you that.
And the action.
I still contend ME 1 through 3 is one of the greatest video game trilogies ever made. Top to bottom. Top to bottom. I mean,
I've never played. I have Andromeda, and I haven't played it. And I don't know if I ever
it's
will.
fucking straight trash shit. Dumpster fire, vomit. Don't do it. Don't do it, because all it's going to do is ruin Mass Effect for you.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking. But anyway,
it's terrible.
What I really want to see out of Ryan is if you go back and listen to the old podcast, if you go back and listen to right after TLJ
Nick
came
hates
out,
his guts.
I hate Ryan Johnson. I want him to fail in this, and I want
ruined
it to
Nick's
bankrupt
childhood.
I want it to bankrupt Disney. I want his trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
No. What I want to see is, I know Ryan's a fantastic filmmaker.
You don't want that?
I don't want that to
Okay,
happen.
all right.
I don't want to nuke Star Wars and ruin one of my greatest joys in my life. So, as a Star Wars fan, that would be against my own interests. I know Ryan's a fantastic filmmaker. TLJ showed it. Regardless of what you think about the story, that was a fantastically executed movie experience.
Right. It's not a prequel, people. Don't even try to give me that argument.
Not even close.
I get you may not like it. Don't even try to tell me it's worse than the prequels. Just stop it. Stop it.
So what I want to do, what I want to see out of Ryan is I want him to do what he did with TLJ, except to whatever degree he wants, because even with TLJ, he had to work within the bounds of the Skywalker saga. Now he is a free horse. He's like a stallion running in a fucking wide open field with no bounds around him.
And you know he's equipped to do that, because you could see he was going that way with the choices he made in TLJ. I mean, the choices he made that really pissed people off was essentially setting up that you do not have to be of Skywalker genealogy to be an impressive Force user.
Exactly.
AKA Rey, AKA Broom Boy.
Broom Boy, yep.
He's setting up that anyone can potentially be a Force hero.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the last name Skywalker. And
now he has the ability to do that to whatever degree he wants.
He doesn't even have to fucking tell a story with the Force in it, honestly.
No, he doesn't. He has the ability to go into the Star Wars, to make the Star Wars galaxy exactly what he imagined it to be in his head when he was a kid, or now, or anytime. It is a unique position that he's in, because never has a Star Wars director, writer, content creator been able to do that.
Think about Nick, the first Star Wars property, and I think it has succeeded, to not feature any Force at all was Resistance. And did you not like Resistance?
Oh, yeah, Resistance was fantastic. Solo.
Right? There was no Force. There was no fucking Jedi. There's none of that. And it was still a good show.
Oh, yeah, it was a fantastic show.
You don't need people. I'm giving you my opinion again. I'm not telling you how to think, although you should think the way I do, because I think correctly. You don't need the Force for Star Wars.
No.
You don't. You don't need Skywalkers for Star Wars. There's a lot of shit to be told within that universe. The way George laid it out, there's a lot to explore, a lot to create, a lot to make up. And that's why I like people like Rian, the Got Bros, and the fact that they've been charged with coming up with completely unique stuff set within the Star Wars universe, not so much within the guidelines and the structure that have been presented before it.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to think about it, this is as close to when these movies released from these two teams, from Ryan's team and from the GOT team, this is as close to 1977 as we're ever going to get again. This is as close to starting anew for Star Wars as we will ever get.
I mean, Nick, all this, ever since Disney bought it, it's giving us new life, new Star Wars life. I mean, people, I almost want to call it Star Wars greed at this point. I think a lot of people forget Star Wars, for all intents and purposes, was dead in 2005.
Yep.
Done. The maker completed his vision. It was over. He had the Clone Wars going on. He was thinking about a TV series. That was it. He wasn't making movies. He was done. I think he was over it. I don't think he was prepared for the backlash he got with the prequels. I really think George thought that he could put out whatever he wanted to and we'd all just blindly love it like we did with the originals. I think he was shocked by it, the reactions, and I think it hurt him. It would hurt anyone.
I mean, it still hurts him.
It would hurt any creator that was so praised and lauded to then be criticized with his second trilogy.
Yeah.
And I really think he was done.
Yeah, I didn't see him coming. Definitely not in 2015 or anything like that. 10 years. I mean, look at how long it took before we got, the prequels. He wasn't going to come back in 2015. 2015 is when
he had no plans.
TFA.
I mean, with all documentation I've read, George Lucas had no plans. He might have had notes. He might have had basic outline for 7-9. He had no plans himself to direct and produce episode 7, 8, 9.
No, not at all.
I don't think at all. I really think he felt like his vision was complete after episode 3.
Yeah.
So the fact that Disney went in, gave him $4 billion, and has now invested probably multiple bills of its own to flesh this motherfucker out. As a lifelong fan, I am A-okay with where they're taking things.
Yeah, with exploring new areas, because right now everything that we've gotten from Disney is fantastic, and everything that we've ever gotten from George was good and built Star Wars to be what it is, but we've never gone into the area that we're going to be going in with Ryan and with DB and David.
And I'm excited, man. I'm excited because of the experiment they did with Resistance, and I think it paid off, and that was just a fucking cartoon. So the fact that they're going to try brand new characters, stories, narratives, whatever, maybe no Force, maybe new types of Force, new types of enemies and heroes, I'm all about that. You never know. We may find our next Luke Skywalker that's going to be a Luke Skywalker for 40 years.
True.
Right?
It's very true. That's a
like,
total
look
possibility.
at it that way, you angry motherfuckers. Look at it that way. Have a little bit of hope. And trust me, this is a guy that has no hope for anything.
Yeah,
you heard me earlier. I got 5 shots into the final round to maybe make it the celebration. I have zero hope even one will get picked.
He doesn't even have a New Hope. Not even episode 4 type of hope.
My episode 4 would be a zero hope. That would be the name of my title, and the scroll would literally say, "This man lives life glass half empty." ...
There is no hope.
And then just be
beyond
a picture of me
borders.
crying. That's how my Star Wars movie would open.
But it's a good point you bring up though. Is what's happened, like Disney is playing the long game with Star Wars. They're not like, okay, Ryan's going to make a trilogy and then that's going to end and then we're going to do something else.
You
like,
really think they're going to build Galaxy's Edge at 2 parks for fun?
Yeah.
For like a few years of fucking enjoyment? Get the fuck out of here.
No, they're playing the long game. And Ryan's trilogy is being set up as a revitalization, as a new thread, as the start of a new thread.
Just like the Got Bros. That's
yeah.
They're trying to capture the same lightning George did in 77.
Yeah, and they're giving themselves 2 shots at it. They're giving themselves an Old Republic shot because
hopefully
I think that's hopefully, fingers crossed. Like I think that's the one that's going to catch, especially now in our action movie kind of oriented society. But like the Rian trilogy is the one that's really interesting because it's completely unknown, it's completely new, and it's starting where George started in 77 with nothing but an idea. Like you have the bounds of the universe.
It's not as George literally made the world up. I mean, Rian at least has the platform in the galaxy that George dreamed up. But yes, he's gonna have a blank canvas within the Star Wars galaxy.
Exactly.
Where George created the galaxy, which is fucking mind-boggling if you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we love the guy. We pick on him for the prequels, whatever. I still love the man. If I ever met him in real life, I'd give him a huge hug and I'd kiss him on the lips.
True.
But
Same.
as Nick said, he is right in a sense that Rian is now going to be able to take that Star Wars canvas that has been fleshed out in terms of the rules of the galaxy and what is viable within this galaxy. But he's going to be able to tell brand new stories. He's going to be able to launch a brand new hero, a brand new villain, brand new hero friends. Like I said, we could find the next Luke. We could find the next Vader, the next Han, the next Leia within Rian's trilogy, within the Got Bros trilogy. So, yes, I am excited for these non-Skywalker saga films.
Very much so.
Be it Rian or not, TLJ, love or hate, I do believe he is a talented artist, and I know he's going to give it his all, and I know he's going to produce something that's going to be worthwhile. I mean, is TLJ the best Star Wars movie? Probably not. Does it have its issues? Of course it does. They all do. Is it as bad as the prequels? No way. No way.
Not even close.
Just no way. And I'm not going to rail on them. I just believe in terms of pure cinema. If you sit down and watch the prequel films in terms of acting, visuals, narrative, and then you watch TLJ, it's very hard for me to see how someone could say that the prequels were better executed. But that's me. Again, we're talking opinions here. On Star Wars Time, we do fully understand what opinions mean. We're not fucking idiots.
Yeah. I mean, I know that I disagree with Matt on damn near everything, but we're still here every week doing a podcast together, acting like Star Wars fans should act. Like good humans.
Case in
get
point,
along with each other.
We were literally stressed out that we didn't have enough to talk about tonight to fill out what we consider to be a proper Star Wars Time Friday show. And here we are, an hour 30 in, canceling the special topics we had as backups. Because guess what? Nick and I like to talk about this shit. We get amped up. We get motivated. We get creative. And that's what George has done for all of us. That's what he's done for Rian. So just let it play out, people. That's all we're saying. Let Rian's vision play out. Let's see what he's going to get. I have all the faith in the world. We're going to get some exciting stuff. And in the end, it's fucking Star Wars, right? It's not Star Trek. It's not some other fucking knockoff bullshit. It's Star Wars. And when the world has Star Wars, it's a good place.
100%.
All right, buddy. Well, I think that kind of does it for this week. And I'm glad we didn't have to get into our special topics, to be honest with you. I believe we shine when it's just you and me spitting out that corn and shit out of our mouths like we tend to do. But we definitely consume a steady diet of Star Wars, and that's why we can regurgitate it to you every Friday. Or when you listen, hopefully Tuesdays when they go live. So hopefully if you're listening to this now, we should have a cast coming out as our It's going to be kind of our pre-celebration Jizzcast, where we're just going to get hyped with you guys for Star Wars Celebration. So that's kind of our next special topic we got planned. So make sure to keep those browsers tuned to StarWarsTime.net, right, Nick? Because that's where everything's at. We've got the subscribe the podcast link up in the top menu. You can grab that. You can get your subscription links to iTunes, Google Play, Android, Stitcher. We're working on getting ourselves on Spotify to round out the major podcast platforms. If you don't like those, you can also hit up our YouTube channel, which we put out videos and the podcast on that. We also have links for that on StarWarsTime.net. So you can get all things Star Wars Time Show on StarWarsTime.net. All right, people. By the time you're listening to this, it's only a few days away from Celebration, which means we're probably only a few days away from that Episode 9 title and trailer reveal. So get fucking hyped. Here we go. We are entering the final stages of the Skywalker saga, and it's an exciting time to be a Star Wars fan. May the Force be with you always.